Hi there, Bones here. As the season draws near, it's time that we take a look at teams that won't be grabbing any headlines this season. Well, at least they won't be grabbing any good headlines. This is the beginning of a monthly segment that we're going to call A Tour of the Cellar. Unfortunately, since the Mangler already covered the Nationals in his previous installment, we'll just be taking a look at the American League Cellar this particular installment, if the, title didn't give that away. No worries to the three Pirates fans out there. We will be covering the National League Central and the National League Cellar at some later point in time. But for now, we're going to start out by taking a look at the three teams that finished last in the three divisions of the American League. We'll start way out west with the Seattle Mariners. Seattle was a pretty big disappointment last season, going from some people's sleeper wildcard pick, even a pick to, win the American League West, to the single worst team in the American League. They were really bad last year. Their hitting was awful, and their pitching, aside from Felix Hernandez, wasn't much better. Looking forward to this season, things don't look to be that much brighter. Nobody hits very well at Safeco Field because, as I said in the previous video, it's a baseball-eating hole in the ground. And, well, King Felix is still a diamond in the extremely rough pitching out in Seattle. There's only 6 players on the team whose 2010 VORP, value over replacement player, was above 0. What that means is that you could replace 3, that's 1/3 for those of you who don't watch much baseball, of the Mariners' starting slots with a Triple-A minor leaguer, and you'd get similar or even slightly better production. On the bright side, the Mariners were one of the best defensive teams in the league, and they still should be. On the downside, defense doesn't score runs, and so the Mariners are almost a lock to repeat as the cellar dwellers of the American League West. Kansas City is one of the most consistent teams in all of baseball. Unfortunately, they have the wrong type of consistency. Along with the Pirates, they're almost always a lock to finish last in their respective divisions. For example, Kansas City, the team we're looking at here, since this is an American League focus, has finished last in their division 6 out of the last 7 seasons. They're not very good, and they really haven't been since the George Brett era. Star pitcher Zach Greinke got traded away during the offseason, and the closest thing this team has to stars are Joakim Soraya, who is, the closer, and on a bad team, being a closer is something like being the best hockey player in Brazil. And the best hitter on the team is Billy Butler, a guy who is pretty good, but again, not superstar material. It's difficult to see the Royals even climbing to 4th place in the fairly mediocre American League Central. The Royals are locked in a cycle of just being bad, and there needs to be a lot of changes to that team. Really, right now, the only reason to go to Kauffman Stadium is to see if you can see those nifty waterfalls out in the outfield. Baltimore's finished last in the American League East over the course of the last 3 seasons. To analyze them, we're going to call in on our bird expert, the Little Duckling. Now, the Orioles are a faceless team. Maybe I'm not the best fake journalist in the world, but I can't name a single Orioles player. Can you? Alright, did a little bit of stats analysis, and the Orioles' best players are pitcher Jeremy Guthrie and first baseman Luke Scott. They're both good, but they're not really superstar material. The Orioles are in a rough position. They will not win the American League East. This is a division with the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, and the Tampa Bay Rays in it. Just not going to happen. The good news for them is that they are in a division with the Toronto Blue Jays, who are probably just as bad as the Orioles. Rough season for you birds, isn't it? Anyhow, with the Blue Jays and the Orioles both being mediocre, look for an interesting race for the cellar of the American League East. Well, that's all for this installment of the Bitter Sports Network. I hope you guys enjoyed it, unless you're a Mariners or Royals or Orioles fan, in which case my sincere and deepest apologies for rubbing salt in your wounds. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, if you have a comment or a question or a concern, you can post those right down below in the comment section, or you can send us an email at bittersportsnetwork@gmail.com. Until next time, this is Bones, signing off. Have a good one.